Sam sends it out to Jimmy O'Brien, and the boy's gonna run and run and run. No, tackle it, no, and run and not very good. Rappy. URC Best League, my shapely derriere. Look at that thing. I am dropping my professional and very unbiased demeanor this week. Why? Because the regular season is over and it's time to give an honest and open review of why every team in the competition sucked. And no, I am not lashing out because the team I support failed to make the playoffs for the third year running. So let's start at the bottom. Zebre Parma. Great ham, middling yogurt, terrible rugby team. For the third year running in the URC, Zebre has finished bottom of the log. At least this year they've managed to keep their points difference to under 300 points, and they even beat the Sharks. They have improved, but so has almost everybody else. Let's move on. The Dragons. Like the night follows the day, the Dragons follow the Zebras as you go up the table. Just like their Italian opponents, they have stuck to the 15th spot on the table for the third year in a row. But unlike the Italian opponents, this has been their worst year so far. They have scored their least ever points and they have conceded their most... Whatever, let's just move on. This feels like punching down. The Sharks. Now, will you look at that? All the money in the world, and all they have to show for it is a name more awkward than Tina Belcher. The McMansion of the rugby world have spent and spent over the last few years putting together a slapdash team of stars who are never there and a backup squad about as tough as the walls of those McMansions. 4 wins from 18 is a horror show for the URC 1 quarterfinalists, but at least they've got that Challenge Cup trophy. They can drive it around in their velvet Maserati or whatever. The Scarlets. Looking at their points difference, they at least have a consistent defense. A consistently bad defense. And this year they have added a much worse attack, scoring more than 100 points less than last year. I guess that's a clear work on area for their head/attacking coach and their back/attack/defense coach in 2025. Cardiff Rugby. 4 red cards this season. 4. 1 in a 1-point loss to Benetton. 1 in a 6-point loss to the Scarlets. 1 in a 4-point loss to Connacht. And 1 in a 4-point loss to the Ospreys. What could have been had Cardiff just learned to stop dumping players or smashing their heads in? Connacht. What a difference 1 extra win makes to your season, eh? Last year, Connacht found themselves in 7th spot and made it all the way to the semi-finals with that 1 extra win. This year, they're sitting down in 11th, garnering less respect than phone spammers. If you're looking for an excuse, just blame global warming. Running out at a sunny sports ground is not the warning us Saffers have been given. Edinburgh. How extremely Scottish the fortunes of Edinburgh. The return of Duan, a fancy new coach in Sean Everett, and the most regular season wins since the start of the URC. But the monkey's paw snapped its gangly finger and bonus points vanished from the Hive Stadium. And so the 11 and 7 Scotsmen find themselves below 2 teams with less wins than them, but double the bonus points. Insert Ewan McGregor. Lions. The Lions, the only moral and upstanding team in the entire URC? How could I rate a team so thoroughly screwed by location, richer teams and bad luck? All I'm saying is if they had a stadium in a better location, more money, better coaches and were better at rugby, they would win this whole league. Prove me wrong. The Ospreys. Fucking pieces of... Now we finally get into the top 8, starting with the Ospreys. They snuck into the playoffs thanks to the misfortunes of the Lions, and not because they managed to win 2 games in South Africa, including one against the bloody Stormers. This is an obvious conspiracy set in motion by those calculating masterminds at the WRU. Palms must have been greased, or how else will a team with only 6 players in the Wales squad make it into the knockouts? I'm not lashing out. Benetton. Ulster. How bad do you have to be to make Steven Kitsoff look like a bad prop? Bad enough to lose to the Sharks, apparently, but also good enough to beat Leinster twice somehow? As I've said before, it's hard for me to form an opinion on Ulster. They cannot decide if they're bad or brilliant. They have Ballacoon, but Stockdale gets all the ball. They play in the same white as dishwashers and cheap fridges. They commit the crime of not eliciting any emotional response from inside of me. I stay neutral, passive, not even bored. Pay back the money. The Stormers ain't looking as slick this season, eh? Their general can get the kicking yips, they are definitely missing the spicy plum, and their defense is way worse. And we'll have to wait and see if they can score their first try in like 100 minutes in Glasgow this weekend. Glasgow. How extremely Scottish the fortunes of Glasgow. Top of the table and flying high with only 2 rounds to go, and down in 4th 2 games later, having only lost 1 of them. Come on, no one really believes that these guys can be the champs, right? There are way too many 40-point drubbings in their ledger for that. Leinster. Wait, Leinster is next? Wait, let me just check this log. 3rd place. Okay. Well, the Bulls. The Bulls, a team that will put 60 points past almost any foe they want for 60 minutes, and then they will let their opponent get back into the game by scoring a try every 60 seconds, making the scores way closer than they really need to be. It seems like that sign that says the altitude matters is as much for the homeboys as the away team these days. I'm saying they're fat. I'm not lashing out. Munster. Main event Munster, the bad guys, the ones that like doing it the hard way. Nothing like a European night at Thomond Park. Thomond Park? Few things as uncool as giving yourself your own nickname or catchphrase, eh? Just a thought. Anyways, the Vanilla Cokes topped the log this year and now have a home run all the way to the final, if they make it. If they don't, then Leinster are no longer the league chokers. Hey, I don't not make the rules. So there is the most truthful and honest review of the ERC teams you will find anywhere. It is clear that they could all do much better, and it is also clear that all of them have colluded to keep the Lions, the sleeping giant of World Rugby, down and out of the top 8. I am not lashing out. A quick look at the news, and my laptop says that the English Prem final is this weekend. Saturday afternoon, in fact, at a probably packed out Twickenham between Northampton and Bath. It should be a cracker, and I will be shouting for Bath because I like Finn Russell, and it would be pretty cool to see Van Graan win something, even after I've been calling him the Uncle Colm of rugby coaches for all these years. And the final news is a little bit more personal. I've been suffering under a great weight and pressure for the last few years. It's been bending my back and giving me spasms, but finally it's been lifted because the Crusaders have missed the Super Rugby knockouts for the first time since 2015. Breathe the free air, knowing that we'll have a new champion and hopefully they won't be breakdancing on our broken dreams. Yay. And also yay, this week's video is done. I will see you all next week to talk about how all the away teams in the ERC won their knockout matches. Crazy! Bye!